Assalamualaikum and hello. My name is Akila Nurina binti Abdul Shukur, and today I will be presenting on my project, A Girl's Guide to Proficiency Podcast, the Language Edition. First and foremost, we will look into the background of the project. Pop culture is a prominent subject on the internet, formed and carried by a large number of fans from different subcultures and fandoms. Pop culture consists of many different genres, including music, films, and books. The pop music genre specifically has formed its own fandom consisting of international fans and dominated by primarily English based content. Fandoms can vary in terms of their composition, size, and cultural influence, but their main goal is typically to convey how much people love and appreciate the subject. According to Hills, fandoms and its principles are actually oddly near to academia. While it is not suitable to place the fandom environment to the same standard as academia, the existence of fandom could encourage language learning. Due to the primarily English based content available in fandoms, learning the English language to communicate and interact with other fans became a need. The active communication done via social media allows fans to start discourse on various topics concerning the fandom, which includes the analysis of song lyrics. Meanwhile, podcast is a spotting tool that aids teachers in teaching their materials within the classroom. Students are encouraged to learn language using podcasts due to the availability of various contents. However, according to Farshi and Mohammadi, a challenge in using podcasts as a teaching aid is in screening the podcast contents. This also raises the issue on whether podcasts as a learning aid should be educational or could be entertainment focused. The project, A Girl's Guide to Proficiency podcast, the Language Edition, is a podcast with English songs as a topic of discussion. The host, which is myself, will go through different song lyrics containing a specific stylistic aspects of language and discuss the aforementioned style. The discussion will touch on the usage of specific stylistic aspects in language, the accuracy in usage, and whether the language style could help in improving language proficiency. The objectives of this project is to assess the effectiveness of pop music podcast topics for language learning and to investigate the competency of analyzing stylistic aspects of language in song lyrics for improving language proficiency. The first episode of the podcast is now available on Spotify. You may scan the following QR code to be redirected to the episode, or you can search A Girl's Guide to Pop Proficiency on Spotify. The first episode discusses the use of grandiose words in songs. In this episode, I had went through 6 songs and talk about the use of 6 different grandiose words available. I've also discussed the usage of the words and whether these words could be used in daily conversations. This is to help listeners get a better understanding of the words outside of the context of the songs. The following audio is a snippet of the first episode.
As opposed to the previous song where Rina used the word agitated to describe feeling nervous, I don't really find the word placid as impactful to the song. It is just quite literally another word to mean drunk. It is just another word to remind listeners that they are drunk. Perhaps you can look at it in another perspective where a drunk person forgets that they have mentioned it previously, so they repeat the statement, but otherwise it doesn't really complement the song. It's, again, just another word.
Aside from Spotify, I stay connected with listeners through Instagram as well, as the platform that allows users to communicate and interact with each other. Based on the feedbacks and comments of listeners, it is shown that the analysis of stylistic aspects in language does help in improving language proficiency. This is because listeners tend to pick up new vocabulary through songs and learn the meaning and usage based on the context of the lyrics. Additionally, listeners were rather neutral on whether podcasts as a learning tool should be entertainment or educational focused. There are some cases where entertainment topics could be beneficial for learning, while it is believed that educational materials should stick to educational contents. As for the podcast itself, listeners voiced that they find it interesting due to the topic of discussion, which includes music as the topic. In addition, the use of fandom expression helps in keeping the podcast engaging. The use of other social media platforms such as Instagram also keeps listeners engaged and entertained. Aside from that, they find it less stressful in listening to the podcast as the topic is not heavy and they were able to listen to it anytime, anywhere, as opposed to being in a formal classroom setting. The creator's accurate word pronunciation also helped listeners in learning the pronunciation and improving their listening skills. Lastly, by adding examples in casual conversations, listeners were able to learn and apply in the following words that were discussed in the episode. In the case of entrepreneurial opportunities, due to the podcast being on the Spotify platform, the creator is eligible to apply for its sponsored advertisement benefits. Through a sponsored advertisement, the creator will be able to receive monetary benefits. Furthermore, the creator could expand their platform to YouTube, which also provides monetary benefits to their creators. However, a disadvantage of this is that creators do not receive a large sum of money from sponsored advertisement. Hence, they still need to find alternative income, such as through personalized curated content for subscribers or through merchandising. These are also great ways to earn money through this project and is also a common strategy used by content creators. Thus, that is all for my presentation of this project. For more updates and information of the project, you may scan the following QR codes to be redirected to the project's social media platforms. Alternatively, you may search A Girl's Guide to Pop Proficiency on Spotify or Guide to Pop Proficiency on Instagram to reach out to the creator. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.